What's the one thing that you can use right now to bring your NPCs to life and massively boost player immersion? Welcome, creators. I am Holistic Dungeon Master, and I help DMs master their craft with helpful videos like this one, where you'll discover that one simple trick and how to take your NPCs to the next level. If you're enjoying my content so far, then please like the video, crit the subscribe button and notification bell. We also have a Patreon down in the description below for those who wish to support the channel further. Now, let's get rolling! I used to have major issues with my NPCs. I tried and I tried and I tried and tried and tried again to make interesting NPCs, but I always had the same result. Inconsistency, right? Some were loved by the party, they loved them, they loved interacting with them, and others, well, they forgot about them without a second thought, right? Never thought about them again. I began to really lose hope that I'd ever master the art of crafting NPCs that my players really care about and that really resonated with them, until I finally realized the reason why. They didn't seem like living, breathing people. I know this on paper sounds a bit silly when you're talking about imaginary Dungeons and Dragons characters, but it's so important for that coveted player immersion. And so when I had this epiphany, I tried a few things. I tried giving them goals, I tried giving them ideals, giving them alignments, backstories, the whole shebang, really. And they all helped the NPCs come alive, for sure, they did. But all of that was a ton of work and ate into huge amounts of prep time. Time I could have spent actually prepping the encounters and narrative and stuff like that, right? I was beginning to get very frustrated and kind of resigned to just accepting that my NPCs are as good as they are, and that's it. I was fuming about this though, like almost quite bitterly. I started to think about, the characters that resonated with me right away from like books, movies, video games, just wondering what was so different between those characters and mine. What did they have that my characters didn't? They had goals, they had ideals, they had alignments, they had backstories, but so do my characters. But then it hit me. It was such a small, almost insignificant thing that it's very easy to miss. But each one of these characters had a thing in common. They were all in the middle of doing something trivial or mundane when first introduced. Whether it was eating a sandwich and they kind of needed a moment to choke it down before speaking their first lines, or just calmly writing notes and finishing doing that in a ledger or notebook before finally bothering to address the question posed to them. I knew that this small character technique was very powerful and that it would change my NPCs forever. These small and seemingly insignificant actions as they are introduced just does so many things at once to breathe life into a character. It speaks volumes about them before they even speak a single word, right? It shows that they have their own lives, rituals, mannerisms that's constantly happening, and you've kind of interrupted that. We've merely briefly interrupted this rhythm of their lives. And it gives us something that can be developed further. I'll explain that later. All of this without a single line of dialogue spoken to your party. How powerful is this, right? If you use this single thing the next time your party meet an NPC the first time, already you've warmed them up about what to expect from this NPC, based on their actions, of course. You've shown them that this encounter with this NPC is just a passing moment in this NPC's life, right? Kind of this feeling of sonder, right? That's what that means, if you didn't know. It's a cool word. And you've given this NPC just the spice of life, right? It's the banal, it's the mundane that makes life believable and realistic, what makes it life. And this is what your players will relate to and get them to kind of latch on to these NPCs. That's what we want. Extremely powerful for such a small little bitty tiny thing. And you can evolve this itty bitty tiny thing into a massive thing, a massive something that will make your NPCs really seem like they have their own lives happening off screen while the players have their own misadventures, of course. And this will become apparent as they have repeated encounters with them. Let me show you how. Whatever simple little action or mannerism that you choose to introduce an NPC with, it can be amplified over the course of the party's encounters with them. You can use them not only to develop the NPC's arcs, right, their character arcs, but you can do so in a way that is completely congruent with the party's expectations of them. There's a saying that first impressions last a lifetime, and this is equally true for your NPCs. So whatever it is, whatever little mundane action or ritual that the party interrupts when meeting the NPC, it'll be cemented in your players' minds, and they will associate that thing that they do with the character. Anytime they think of them and anytime they encounter it again, the NPC doing that again, it will be satisfying. It'll make sense because they've witnessed it before. It'll just make the characters seem more real to them. Because we all have our own strange little idiosyncrasies that make us living, breathing, real people. Let me just give you an example to rein things in again. Say the party meet an NPC that is engaged in this chaotic, messy, and complicated process of repairing some intricate contraption of their own devising that is about to malfunction catastrophically and in an impressive manner. They tell them to just hold on one moment before they barely manage to solve the issue. Your party now know that this NPC is disorganized, they're an inventor of some kind, and they barely have control over their projects, just through this one little thing that they do that occurs. Now, the next time they meet this NPC, you reinforce the things the party have already witnessed and learned about them, right? So in their minds, they go, ah, yes, of course, that makes total sense. And you can use this thing that makes sense to help develop their story, right? Maybe they need help with an automaton that has broken free and is causing mayhem in the locale. Maybe they completely forgot they were meant to have an item ready for the party and have to quickly and haphazardly knock something together for them. By doing this, you are evolving this NPC's arc using that simple thing that gave them the spark and breath of life the moment your players met them. And thus, every beat in their story makes complete sense to your players. And through this reinforcement over and over and over again every time they meet them, they will begin to suspend their disbelief that this is a real person, right? You know? How can they not feel that this character is a living, breathing person? How can they fail to relate to them in some way after you've shown them to be flawed and human, or at least humanoid, right from the get-go? Do you want deep NPCs that captivate your players at every session? Well, now you can, because I have written a bunch of system-neutral, story-focused, archetypal NPCs with no stats or mechanic or anything like that, so you can get started improving your NPCs and the narrative of your games. I'm giving it away for free, and you'll find it down in the description below. Also down in that wonderful description box, you will find the link to my community Discord server. Hop right in, we can hang out, discuss the game, you'll meet other DMs who are bouncing ideas off each other and helping each other get better at the craft, and also other players too who just enjoy talking about and playing D&D. You've heard a lot from me, now I want to hear from you. In fact, we all do. Please get typing down in the comments below. How do you plan to bring your next NPC to life? Have you already tried this technique? And if so, how did your players react to this NPC? Let us all know so we can foster this community of DMs who help each other hone their craft. If you've watched up until now, then you are the DM I make this content and these videos for, someone who is truly dedicated to becoming the best DM that they can be. So, like the video, share it with another DM who you think could use this NPC spark of life magic, and remember, this world needs good DMs.